Hi, it's time for another verb of the day. Today's verb is support. Let's take a look at some of the definitions or ways that we use this verb. The first way you might hear the verb support used is to mean to hold something up. Another way to say that is to think about something bearing the weight of another object. So I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you thought about stepping on something and thought, ooh, I don't know, if I step on it, will I crush it, right? Or can that thing hold up my weight? Can it support me? So a second way you might hear the verb support used is to mean to give assistance to. This could be financial assistance, so you might hear somebody say that they are supporting a particular charity or nonprofit. A third way to use the verb support is to mean to give approval or encouragement to. So the previous definition, many people think of as, again, providing financial support, but you can also provide emotional. And this approval or encouragement is what we're talking about with this definition. A fourth way to use the verb support is to mean to suggest the truth of something. So for this particular definition, you might think about a writing course or some writing instruction that you have received. And it's quite possible you've had a teacher say you need to support your opinions. You need to provide some information that sort of proves or establishes the truth of these ideas or thoughts. A fifth way you might hear the verb support used is connected to technology. And its meaning here is to allow the use or the operation of a program or device. One of my sample sentences later will help illustrate this particular definition. You should know that support is a regular verb. To make the progressive form of this verb, all we need to do is add ing to form supporting. The past tense and participle forms of this verb are made by adding ed. And the base verb support ends in a T sound, so our ed is going to make an id sound. Supported. Supported. You'll be happy to know I don't have any additional phrasal verbs or meanings for us to look at today, so this is going to allow us to continue practicing using our verb in the present progressive, the present perfect progressive and the simple future today. So we're going to start with the present perfect progressive. And generally, we're using this verb tense to talk about an action that started in the past and it continues into the present. And I like to use this description, present perfect progressive, and remind my students we have 3 P's, so I'm going to need 3 parts to make an affirmative sentence. So the structure here is going to be have or has, depending on what our subject is, right? So if our subjects are I, you, we, or they, we'll use have. If our subjects are he, she, or it, we'll use has. Then we're going to use the participle ben, B-E-E-N, and then we use that ing form of the verb. So here's an affirmative example. They have been supporting several students throughout their college studies. Now, we don't have a lot of details from this example sentence, but this could be the emotional support that was sort of connected to the third definition we looked at that dealt with encouragement. Many times as people go to new places and they take new challenging courses, they may need a little bit of encouragement to go through challenges and continue persevering through their studies. Now, if I want to make a negative present perfect progressive sentence, I'm going to insert not after have or has. You might hear some people use the contraction forms haven't or hasn't. Both are fine. Here's another example sentence. Her parents haven't been supporting her since she moved out. Now, again, this sentence doesn't give us a lot of detail, but I would bet, based on my life experience, this is referring to financial support. So since this particular individual decided to live on her own, she is now responsible for paying for her own bills. Now, if you want to make a yes or no question in the present perfect progressive, again, you'll start with have or has. Then we'll have the subject. Then we'll use the participle been and then the ing form of the verb. Has he been supporting the team for a long time? Now, let's take a look at the simple future. Today, we're going to focus on making sentences using be going to. The only thing that's maybe a little tricky about this form of the simple future is remembering our different forms of the be verb. So if our subject is I, we're going to use am. If our subjects are you, we, or they, then we'll use are. And if our subjects are he, she, or it, we'll use is. Then we'll use going to, and then the base verb to make this simple future tense. So here is an example sentence that's going to tie back to that fifth definition of the verb. The iPhone 13 is going to support faster Wi-Fi. I realize Wi-Fi might seem a bit foreign. It's referring to wireless internet, wireless connection. So here, again, this goes back to our fifth definition or meaning of allowing certain programs to operate in terms of that definition. Now, if I want to make a negative sentence in the simple future using be going to, I'm just going to insert not after the be verb. Now, I can make contractions with are not. I can change that to aren't. I can make a contraction with is not. That would change into isn't. But I cannot make a contraction with am not. Okay? So those have to stay two separate words. But you're going to see me use the be verb in contraction form with the pronoun I here in this example sentence. I'm not going to support that legislation. This ties back to the meaning of giving approval. I do not approve of this legislation. Maybe I will not vote for it. Anything sort of connected to that idea. Now, let's make a yes or no question in the simple future. When we do this with be going to, we'll start with our form of be that matches the subject. That comes next. And then we'll have going to and the base verb. Are the bridges going to support the weight of those tracks? So here we're tying back to that first definition. Again, bearing the weight of something, holding up the weight of something. Now, let's take a look at some words that are related to our verb support. And the first word we're going to look at is just the noun form of this word. We have the exact same spelling and the exact same pronunciation, and just like our verb, the noun can have a number of different meanings. Today, we're just going to look at 4 of those. The first way you might hear the noun support used is to mean the action or state of bearing weight of something or someone. It can also mean just of being supported. So an example of this definition might be the sentence, hold on to the railing for support. Right? So helping bear the weight of something. The noun support could also mean financial assistance. So an example of that might have donors have provided a lot of support. Donors have provided a lot of money. A third way to use the noun support would be approval, encouragement, or comfort. Here's another example of that. My friends gave me so much support. I know many people could say this sentence, particularly if they've been through something challenging. Having friends call or text to check on you, listen if you need to talk, all of those things would be examples of this noun, encouragement, comfort, etc. The last definition for the noun support that we're going to look at today relates back to the 5th definition of the verb. So any sort of technical help that is provided to computer users. So an example of that, call her for technical support. And many times you'll have various numbers you're given when you buy new technology, whether it's a laptop, a tablet, a cell phone, etc. And many companies will just shorten the word technical to tech, T-E-C-H. You'll see tech support. So help is another fun way to think of that. The next word we're going to look at is the adjective supportive, and it means providing encouragement or emotional help. Here is an example of this adjective in a sentence. His manager was so supportive when he needed time off. So, the sentence is intentionally a bit vague, but perhaps there was a difficult situation in this employee's life, and the manager here was understanding, maybe offered to listen, to talk, maybe to make some calls, and providing some time off to deal with that situation. Now, of course, or maybe unfortunately, I should say, we do have sort of an opposite adjective to look at here. So you might remember the prefix un means not. So unsupportive means not providing encouragement or emotional help. Here's an example of that adjective in a sentence. Were they being unsupportive with their comments or actions? Thanks so much for watching today's video. I hope you have a great day.